The proliferation of artificially sweetened products raises specific concerns in pediatric contexts, where developing systems may prove particularly vulnerable to novel compounds, while taste preferences and metabolic patterns are still forming. Current evidence and pediatric guidance reflect precautionary principles given limited long-term safety data in children. Pediatric consumption of artificial sweeteners has increased substantially as parents seek to reduce children's sugar intake without eliminating sweet tastes. However, this substitution strategy faces scientific scrutiny regarding both safety and unintended consequences. Cohort studies following children longitudinally reveal associations between regular artificial sweetener consumption and various outcomes requiring careful interpretation. Some research links childhood sweetener intake to increased body weight gain and altered appetite regulation, seemingly paradoxical given zero-calorie content. Proposed mechanisms include disruption of learned associations between sweetness and caloric content, potentially impairing innate regulatory abilities governing intake. The developing gut microbiome presents another concern. Emerging research suggests certain artificial sweeteners alter bacterial populations in ways that may affect metabolic health, immune function, and even behavior through the gut-brain axis. While this research remains early stage, developmental periods represent times of particular microbial vulnerability. Taste preference formation during childhood influences lifelong patterns. Exposing children routinely to intensely sweet tastes, whether from sugar or sweeteners, may establish high sweetness preferences, complicating later acceptance of unsweetened foods. Some pediatric nutritionists argue that childhood represents an optimal window for cultivating preference for less sweet foods generally, rather than maintaining high sweetness through artificial means. Regulatory agencies generally recognize artificial sweeteners as safe for the general population, including children, based primarily on acute toxicity studies. However, these evaluations involve inherent limitations. Most safety testing predates widespread use from infancy onward, and subtle effects on developing systems may not emerge in standard toxicology protocols. The precautionary principle guides many pediatric organizations toward conservative recommendations. The American Academy of Pediatrics suggests avoiding regular artificial sweetener consumption in young children, emphasizing water and milk as primary beverages. This guidance reflects uncertainty rather than established harm, but developmental vulnerability warrants cautious approaches when alternatives exist. Practical considerations complicate implementation. Parents seeking to eliminate sugar from children's diets often view sweeteners as necessary for acceptance of dietary changes. However, evidence suggests gradual sugar reduction, allowing taste adaptation, proves more successful long-term than immediate substitution with sweeteners, maintaining sweetness intensity. Special populations, including children with diabetes, face distinct considerations. For these children, artificial sweeteners may enable more flexible dietary choices while managing blood glucose. Individualized medical guidance becomes essential, weighing theoretical concerns against practical benefits in disease management contexts. The cognitive and behavioral effects in children specifically remain understudied. While some research examines these outcomes in adults, children's developing brains may respond differently. The Brazilian cohort study linking sweetener use to cognitive decline examined adults. Applying these findings to children requires caution. Cross-cultural variation in pediatric sweetener guidance reflects differing risk tolerance and precautionary stances. Some European countries advocate more restrictive approaches than North America, though scientific evidence bases overlap substantially. For parents navigating these complexities, the emerging consensus favors the most conservative path, prioritizing water as the primary beverage throughout childhood, with milk playing supplementary roles. Treating both sugar and artificial sweeteners as occasional rather than routine choices avoids known sugar risks while sidestepping uncertain sweetener risks. This approach requires patience as children adjust taste preferences, but potentially yields the most favorable long-term outcome: adults comfortable with and preferring less sweet beverages, reducing lifelong exposure to both categories of concern.